Peterson with my Enhancement 2 SQL query video, first of 2 videos for Enhancement 2. And I've got my SQL Pro client up here, and I'm using that instead of the PHP MyAdmin client, and it seems to work out fine for me for developing database in my local environment. As you can see, I've got the tables already set up, the categories, clients, and inventory. And we'll start off with the first query and just check to make sure we have an empty data set here in the clients table. And we'll run this first query that inserts the information for Tony Stark. So we'll run that selection and check that the content is there. We'll refresh the table, and we have a new record with a client ID of 1 for Tony Stark and all the other associated information for Tony Stark there. The next query we had to run was to update the client level, which is currently 1, and we needed to update that to a client level of 3. And we'll run this update statement, and we have a where statement to make sure that the client ID is 1, and client ID is 1 right there. So we'll run this update statement and go back and check the content of the table, refresh it, and client level is 3 as expected. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is it was requested that we update the inventory table and we change the nylon rope to climbing rope. So let's look at the inventory table really quick and look at the content, and we have nylon rope. We need to change the instance of nylon rope to climbing rope in both the inventory name and the inventory description fields right there. Let's see. Oh, okay, so we will go back to the query, and I have an update statement here using the replace function for inventory name and inventory description, and where the inventory ID is equal to 15. We'll make sure that the nylon rope is on inventory ID 15, and that looks correct. So let's run this query here and make sure this works. No errors. Check the content of the inventory table, nylon rope, refresh it, and we have climbing rope and climbing rope here. It seems to have worked just fine. Okay, the next thing we need to do was to do an inner join. Now I have 2 queries here. I don't really like inner joins. I like to do it this way, but I'll run the inner join just because that's what the assignment required. And this is going to be working on the categories table, and we're going to return a record set where the inventory and the category ID is the same on both inventory table and categories table, and the category ID is equal to 3. So we'll run this inner join query right here, and we have a record set returned of 7 rows, which I believe was the requirement, and it looks all good there. And so the next one is to delete a record from the inventory table, and the record that we needed to delete was the record 7, the, well, I don't even know, Koenigsegg CCX car. Okay, and so we'll run our delete statement with delete from inventory where inventory ID equals 7, and so we'll run that, and now we'll check the content of the table, and refresh it, and now we have removed that entire record from the table. And that should conclude my video for running the SQL queries.